If you're looking for cookie cutter, politically correct talk, then get the out. You're listening to Conservarican and Friends on WAAR Radio.
It's me, Batman.
Good evening to you,
I'm
sir.
here to host Today in Art History today, because your host Tony died in a house fire. It's me, Batman. I couldn't save him.
Well, I mean, I gave up my MD, took that off my name. But aside from that, I don't know if he's able to go on Sunday, which is opening day in Kansas City. Then how serious could it be? On the other hand, it's a blood clot in the bladder, which I'm told, or at least I've heard, he kind of passed like a kidney stone. So that's why it's a finished issue, at least for now, and hopefully forever. And he's able to he pitched, and he's able to pitch on Sunday, and apparently it's not that big a deal. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Now, he was ticked off today from the reports I heard, because every newspaper, back cover, front cover in the New York area had things like "You're in good hands," and he just thought that they were taking what could have been a serious medical condition and treating it too lightly and mocking it in a sense. So that's between him and the papers and how he handles that. But so he didn't talk to the media today after he threw. So that we'll see how that takes shape going forward. But as far as medically speaking, I got to figure if he's able to pitch already, then it couldn't have been that bad. Yeah, you don't want to lose to Kansas City. It's bad enough they're going to have to sit through the raising of the World Championship flag. But the Royals certainly deserved it last year, and to make it back 2 years in a row in this day and age, after coming so close the year before and then winning it last year, it's going to be interesting. But certainly beyond Matt Harvey, it's going to be interesting to see how the whole team reacts, and it's just so hard for me to believe that April 3rd is Sunday and it's opening day, and here we go again. Yeah, I know the feeling. Well, I think and it's unfortunate that he, is now has cancer, which hopefully he's recovering from and will be fine. I think he's done as good a job as could be expected. Like you mentioned, I mean, look at their payroll last year compared to other clubs that made the playoffs and the Mets swept through, or didn't make the playoffs and had a huge payrolls. So you got to give him credit where he brought the players on board. Now he didn't bring and he didn't draft. He didn't select every single one of the pitchers on the pitching staff, and that's really what carried them. There were key trades made even last year. You look at the I guess the late June, early July trade that brought them a couple of key players who helped along the way, certainly. But I think, how could you not give credit to a guy working under these financial constraints who got his team to the World Series very unexpectedly last year, and they have to be favored to get back there again this year, again, if only because of the pitching. Right, right, yep. Absolutely. I mean, that worked out so well. I mean, R.A. Dickey, had that year in there where he won the Cy Young, and it takes a lot of guts to trade a Cy Young award winner, but they did it because they knew what they needed. They knew what their limitations were, and they knew what they could make use of. And I'll tell you, Darno certainly is a gem. And what could you say about Syndergaard? Many people feel that he's the best out of all of them on that staff. And when you talk about Wheeler being the gem of the minor league system that he was in, a lot of times that doesn't work out, and it's going to be very exciting going forward this year to see what a healthy Wheeler looks like. Yep. I just go back because I'm a lot older than you, okay? And I just go back to when guys pitch complete games and when guys threw tons of innings and when relievers pitched Goose Gossage got 3 inning saves. And in a lot of ways, I just can't stand the specialists, especially when it comes to relievers, or the guy who goes six. All they need is 5 innings, or all they need is 6 innings. And I understand that's the standard, and great. But I mean, arms have always survived pitching lots of innings. And now we're so afraid with these innings counts and pitch counts and this count and that count. I don't know. Maybe it's true they start younger and they ruin their arm to a certain extent, or do something to their arm when they're young that other older baseball players didn't do. Maybe that's true. Maybe there's so much more organized ball now from the time they're 3 that's the case. But that aside, I'm not worried about these young guns injuring themselves or running out of gas, because they shouldn't. Yeah. Oh, no, I was going to say, you look at those, you look at those Yankee classics or Met classics and the '86 Mets even, and you see them all in skin tight uniforms. They're all skinny balinks for the most part, and yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. Five. They could go 5 innings and that's it. And that that's really a crime. But I mean, look, I know they make good money, but just imagine, seriously. And I know it's just imagine day in and day out, you might get called on to get one batter out. I'm sorry, that's boredom for me. Oh my, and spit him out. Yes. Um, I think anybody who roots for the Mets would rather have seen them win their last 13 games, but I don't think it's a problem. I think to a certain extent they do move players around. I mean, does this include split squads and and all that kind of stuff? I covered the Yankees mostly in the '80s, spring training when they were in Fort Lauderdale. I covered the Mets when they were in St. Petersburg, and then when they moved to Port St. Lucie. And I guess when you get down to the last weekend of games, you could take them seriously. But prior to that, you always look to see how the pitchers are doing. I mean, that's kind of a key. You want to see how the pitchers are doing. Hitters, you're kind of confident that the hitters are going to hit, and even in the case of the Mets, the pitchers are going to wind up pitching. So I'm not concerned. Everybody starts with that clean slate, and I just think that the Mets should pick up right where they left off last year, because they didn't. I mean, they started out. Remember, if I'm not mistaken, they started out like gangbusters last year. So they may not be able to do that. And then people are going to start panicking, holding up last year's quick start against this year's. But then again, who thought they would have finished the way they finished? So I think a lot is in their psyche, because last year, once they caught fire, I mean, man, they were the underdog of all underdogs. Now it's expected. So now it's a whole different mindset for the organization, for the players to put pressure on themselves, and for the fans. The fans are looking for it now. So it's a whole different ball game, so to speak. No pun intended, really. But I'm not worried about the streak at the end. Yes. Well, the Nationals, I don't think are the same. Notwithstanding the fact that they got Daniel Murphy, I think the Nationals, lost some in the pitching department, and I just don't see them as the threat that they were for a while, most of a while last year anyway, until the Mets ran away after beating them head to head in a really important 3-game series. But you would like to think that the Mets from the beginning will win the games against the bad teams that they're supposed to win. But and I know it's such a long season. It's twice the length of any of the other seasons. That there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, and they could start ice cold and everybody's going to panic, or they could start red hot and do exactly what you theorize they will do against sub 500 teams. There's really no way to tell, but they should, win those games. They should fare well after their first, what'd you say, 50 games or so, if that level of competition is beneath them. Trump, Trump is my prediction. I heard it best described by Steve Summers on WFAN. I think he said, with all the speculation, all the numbers guessing, and I think Sandy Alderson came up with a number in the offseason, but I think that's all by the boards. And I think it's all we can hope as Met fans is that David Wright gets to play as many games as David Wright wants to play, that he's able to play when he feels he can and when he wants to. I don't know. I mean, this is a medical condition that, who among us doesn't have a back issue at some point? Right now I can't raise my shoulder right now. Okay, so I don't know. If he's getting older, I don't know what condition it actually is in. You don't know, and if the Mets know, they're certainly not going to tell anybody. So I would like to hope he could play at least 100 games, or maybe 100 games. 115, I think, is what they had said or so. But I don't know. Right. I'm looking. I'm looking in the 90s. I hate to say 100 because that would be or that's a high bar to set. But I think you would expect this team to win 95 and then go up from there. So I would say if they meet expectations, they're going to win 90 95 or so games, and anything else will be gravy. Again, give me a coin because all we're doing is flipping a coin when it comes to health. And the Tommy John recovery is all a matter of health. But if the past is any indication with other players, they will tell you yes. They will tell you the first year back, it's a big adjustment in many respects out there on the mound. Not only velocity, but also other pitches that they have to throw, and it takes some getting used to. So you would think and hope, again, as a Met fan, that yeah, he will return to that kind of form, or certainly improve on what he did last year, where at times he pitched magnificently, and at times he was shaky. So we'll see. Yep. Yep. Yeah, no, it's gonna. It look. This is gonna be as exciting as it gets. I mean, coming off the World Series, can they repeat? But all the question marks and the most exciting, young, dominant pitching staff in baseball. Can they repeat what they did last year? Can each one of them improve on what they did last year? I mean, this they have the potential again based on their pitching, and they got some punch to dominate this league and run away with it and run away with it early. Will they? Will they stay healthy? Will Wheeler come back? Will Matz develop? Will Harvey be healthy? Who knows? That's the beauty. You don't want to play with people's health, but that's the beauty of it. Yep. And and nobody's punching anybody. There's no Keith Hernandez punching Daryl Strawberry that I know of. So you know, I'd love to. Well, you join me on my show on Newsmax Television, 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Folks with DirecTV and Dish and Verizon could see it, and I love having you on. And this was fun to get away from the reality of the political season and focus on the reality of the starting of the baseball season. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. So you got them all direct. Direct is 349, Dish is 223, and Verizon Fios is 115, and that's where you can catch it, or newsmaxtv.com if you don't have those. And at Steve M Talk. Thank you, Julio. Great to talk to you, man.